and thank you for watching the Alchemy Kitchen. In this video, I'm going to be doing a quick review of the SILVERCREST Food Dehydrator. SILVERCREST is a brand made by Lidl. I picked this up in the store. I got it in July, about 4 months ago. We're in November now. And I have gotten quite a bit of use out of it, I have to say. I believe it was 25 euro. I looked online there. If you buy it from the store, it's like 25 euro plus 5 euro shipping. This was in the store, so it was an impulse buy. But I needed a food dehydrator. I've used my smoker, like cold smoking, and convection oven, where I just crack the door and put it on the lowest setting. And that works fine too. Only problem is that takes up the oven. This just, I do a lot of dehydrating, so I figured I could try one of these out. I know you can get a lot nicer ones, but I figured for the price, why not? Let's try it out. And I mean, first off, I think they do make some other models that are a little bit nicer. This is like the budget one, and there's really no bells or whistles at all. There's an on and off switch, and that's it. So the lid, it looks like it's got like a heating coil inside and a fan. And I mean, it gets pretty warm. There's no way to adjust the temperature or timer or anything like that. It's on or off. Comes with, I think this is all of them, 5 trays that you can throw them in the dishwasher. They're a little annoying to clean if something gets stuck on. If you use like a brush, it's easier. They have these kind of adjustable ramps on the lip here so you can make it sit higher, but really I don't know why you do that. Most of the stuff you cut to dehydrate, you want to cut pretty thin anyways. And then finally the bottom tray is just a stand, nothing to it. All that's should be dishwasher safe. Everything but the lid. So far I've used, like I said, I've used this quite a bit. I've done zucchini chips. Those came out pretty good because I grew a lot of zucchini this year. I've done chili peppers. I grew a lot of cayenne and jalapeno this year. I've got some more I got to do today. Mushrooms. I pick a lot of mushrooms, so this is great for dehydrating mushrooms. You can fit quite a bit in there. I've done jerky, like venison jerky, wild boar jerky. Also came out great. Even the last pike I caught fishing, I did boneless fillets, so there was still some like scrap pieces, and I salted that and put it in and made kind of like a fish jerky, which is actually really good if you get into that. Try that with beer and you'll be addicted. What else have I done? I've done apples. Not so big into the dehydrated fruits, to be honest, so mostly doing like jerkies, and I like to dehydrate peppers, especially like the jalapeno peppers I grow, and making powder out of them. Like I said, it does come with an instruction book with kind of guidelines for how long, for what you're putting in there. It's really going to depend on how thick you cut it, and I think how much you have in there. Even with this thing packed full, though, it didn't seem to make a difference. It wasn't like the top was drying out way faster than the bottom. It wasn't a significant difference. So, I mean, for the price, I cannot complain. And how much I've used it so far, it has not crapped out on me yet. I have maybe 2 complaints off the top of my head, I would say. I'm going to go ahead and plug it in and turn it on and show you the first one. My first gripe about it, not a huge deal, but you'll see what I mean. Got kind of a short cord. It's kind of loud. And I mean, that's going to be going for hours, so that's one thing. In the summertime, a lot of times I just put it outside and run it. Or if it's in the kitchen and close the door, but a lot of times I'd have it running overnight, or started in the morning, have it running several hours. So it's not super quiet. It does get pretty warm. So, okay, I don't know if the nicer ones are quieter, but that's one thing to consider. Another thing is, this was especially when I made jerky outside, is I started, it came out a few minutes later, and there were flies and wasps just swarming that thing. And they're able to get into these little holes here, which is not cool. So I found I need to get a bigger one, like a food cover to keep the flies out that I put over the top. This kind of just barely fits over the spacings, and there's still a little bit of gap for them to get in. So if you get like a bug net or something, I'd just be careful putting something that can melt on the top. But yeah, you definitely want to protect it, otherwise you're going to get flies or wasps inside, especially with the meat. That was the biggest issue. I mean, I thought I had a wasp nest around. They just started swarming it when they could smell it. That's in the summertime, of course. Now, this time of year, I don't have an issue with that. And like I said, there's no timer, so it's just on. That's kind of it'd be nice if they had a timer built in. Not a huge deal breaker for the price. Like I said, I've done tons of mushrooms. I've got some more. I just harvested the last of my chili plants and winterized them. So I've got a lot of cayenne, which I'm going to make some powder out of. I never really time it. I just check on it. That's one thing I noticed too, since it uses a substantial amount of heat. When it feels like it's dry to the touch and you turn it off, the stuff kind of, as it cools, can tend, like the zucchini chips, tend to get like a little bit soggy afterwards. So you might have to run it a little longer than you would expect. Other than that, I had no issues with it. You really want to make sure the stuff is dry, especially before you package it up. Even if it's still warm, I leave the bag open just so any moisture can escape. So otherwise you're going to end up with mold. You can put those, I can't remember what they're called, those little packets that absorb moisture inside. That's recommended. I usually just make sure it's really dry, and while it's cooling, if it's in a bag or something, I don't seal the bag until it's cooled down and I'm sure it's dry, so they won't get moldy. But I mean, as you can see here, these are mostly bullets that dried really nicely. I mean, one thing I'll do is just pull it out and see. I want it to kind of like snap, basically. If it's bending easily and still soft, it probably has to sit in a little longer. I've done these whole. I've done it where I just cut them in rings. Since I want to make powder, what I'm going to do is actually half these, scrape out the seeds, because that makes it easier to grind it up to a fine powder. And the smaller you cut it, the faster it's going to go.